Hello. Welcome back to the year 2006. 2006 was a big year for politics, economy, culture, and events. Why don't we start off with some of the top events from 2006? Starting off our top events, we have the conviction and trial of former Iraqi President Saddam Hussein. Saddam Hussein was found to be guilty in this year of killing 148 Iraq Shiites religious people. He was found guilty of these charges on November 5th and was sentenced to death by hanging on December 30th. The next event was covered all worldwide. On January 2nd, 2006, a coal mine in Sago, West Virginia exploded and trapped 13 miners beneath its rocks. After 2 days, only one of the 13 trapped miners survived the accident. It was the worst mining disaster in the United States since the Jim Walter Resource Mine disaster in Alabama on September 23, 2001, and is the worst disaster in West Virginia since the 1968 Farmington Mine disaster. Another event that really hit America deep was the death of Steve Irwin, also known enthusiastically as the Crocodile Hunter. He was in the Great Barrier Reef off the northeast coast of Australia shooting a TV program when he was killed by a stingray barb that pierced his chest while shooting. He died at the age of 44, leaving his wife Terry and their 2 children, Bendy Sue and Robert, behind. All countries around the world, including the US, mourned his death. During the spring of 2006, there were lots of immigration protests. There was a bill that was going to be passed that basically made any illegal immigrant a criminal and outlawed. The protesters basically wanted to give each of the immigrants a chance to live the American dream. Here is what some of the protesters had to say.
The HR 4437 that went through in December affects me just as much as it affects everybody else because it criminalizes things I do every day, like English as a second language classes.
Well, we're brother and sister. We're on opposite sides of the political spectrum. We're both here because we feel like this is some hateful legislation that it just shouldn't be passed.
Honestly, it will not solve the problems that we're experiencing with illegal immigration. All it will do is push people further into the shadows of society.
I myself am a social worker, and I work with a lot of undocumented immigrants. It would criminalize my act of helping children and families, and I just don't see how that is helping anyone.
Treating us as criminals.
Yeah.
We should be treated like everybody else is treated.
What does it mean to be an American?
To be an American means to do this, to practice democracy. And this is what we're doing, to express our rights, to fight for our rights.
The last big event regards sports. At the time, the pitcher for the New York Yankees was Corey Little. He was flying on his way to his next game held up in New York City. Within a few minutes, people noticed that a high-rise building has burst into flames. The plane Corey Little was flying to crashed into it, killing him and the flight instructor on board. No one else was killed, but there were apartment residents that were seriously burned. Next, we'll look at some of the economy statistics of 2006. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the number of unemployed was nearly 6 million in January 2001. That number rose to 6.9 million in September of 2006, which made the percentage go from 4.2% to 4.6%. Basically, the economy in 2006 were the following. The economy was slowed. The labor market was weakened. The housing boom ended. The consumers felt the pinch of record debt. The U.S. trade imports vastly more than it exports, and the U.S. government owed a massive debt to foreigners at the time, $260 billion. If you were to describe the economy of 2006 in one word, it was slowed down. Now let us move on to the politics of 2006, starting off with some important laws, bills, or acts passed. One of the first major acts of 2006, H.R. 6061, also known as the Secure Fence Act, was introduced on September 13th at the 109th Congress. The bill was enacted and signed by the President on October 26. This bill was introduced to help the American people be protected and also make the borders more secure. The president said it was an important step towards immigration reform. Another major bill of 2006 was the Adam Walsh Child Protection and Safety Act, which was signed on July 27th. This act establishes a national database requiring all convicted sex offenders to register their current residency and related details on a monthly instead of a previous yearly basis. Newly convicted sex offenders also would face longer mandatory incarceration periods. Now let's talk about some of the policies, both foreign and domestic, of the president. When it came to trade, President Bush supported free trade policies and legislation, but has resorted to protectionist policies on occasion. Particularly, tariffs on imported steel imposed by the White House were lifted after the World Trade Organization ruled them illegal. A negotiation settlement to the softwood lumber dispute and imported steel dispute were reached in April 2006, and this historic 7-year deal was finalized on July 1st, 2006. When it came to national preserves, President Bush on June 15th created the 75th and largest national monument in U.S. history. It also became the largest marine protected area in the world. This preserve was called the Northwestern Hawaiian Islands National Monument. That pretty much sums up the political topics of 2006. Now let's move on to our final major topic of 2006, which will probably be everyone's favorite, the culture and the pop culture. Let's first talk about the religion and culture of 2006. A religious topic talked about a lot in 2006 was Democrats seemingly to have some type of God problem. It seemed that the Democrats were struggling with religion in the country and also being involved in a bunch of the political affairs. The Democrats really had two major problems with religion. The first, suggested by the work of those who see a culture war being waged in American politics, is that Democrats, because of their liberal approach to social issues, have surrendered the vote of conservative, traditional Christians to the Republican Party, allowing the GOP to forge electoral victories and capture control, at least for now, of both the executive and legislative branches of the government. The second problem Democrats may have had was with the recent elections, not just because their policy prescriptions were rejected by conservative Christians, but also because a large portion of the electorate who may be sympathetic to Democratic positions was nevertheless turned off by a perceived hostility on the part of the party toward religion, which most Americans see as a positive force with an important public role to fill. The spreading of wireless internet access became more and more pervasive. In 2006, entire cities like San Francisco and Philadelphia became entire urban zones of wireless internet access. Wi-Fi also introduced a new technology called Edge, which uses the next generation of Wi-Fi called WiMAX. Phone technology was also being vastly improved. Phones were starting to have instant access to news, sports, and other info. And also, phones had the ability to download the information. Probably one of the biggest features of phones for 2006 was the ability to watch videos on them. The first two phones to have this video watching ability was the Motorola PEBL and the Motorola SLVR. One of the biggest technological achievements of 2006 was the introduction of movies on demand. DirecTV was one of the first to introduce the idea.
The best Hollywood movies are playing on DirecTV Cinema.
This should be interesting.
Yeah. The stars you want to see. The movies you want to watch.
Alright guys, it's time for the most exciting part of the presentation, the pop culture! To start off the pop culture, the big video sharing site known as YouTube was starting to grow in major popularity in 2006. It became so big that it caught the attention of the big company Google, and Google offered to buy it from the original owners. So Google decided to buy YouTube for a whopping $1.65 billion. What was also big was the new term of blogging called vlogging. Vlogging is basically, in case you don't know, just like a blog, except most of the time it's in the form of video. So basically it's kind of like a video diary for some people. There are also some hit songs from 2006. Here are some clips from some of the top hits.
If I just lay here, would you lie with me and just forget the world? Jesus, take the wheel, take it from my hands, 'cause I can't do this all my own. 'Cause you had a bad day, you're taking one down, you sing a sad song just to turn it around. You say you don't know, you tell me don't.
There were a lot of good films and popular films in 2006 too. Here are clips from some of them.
Oh, hi. So you eat flies?
No, no, no. I drink their blood.
Rito, it's time.
Hey, Tiny, you gonna clean his windshield?
So, you're a book editor.
Yes, I am.
What kind of an editor are you?
A very mean one.
No. What I meant was, do you give massive notes, or...
Well, the better the writer, the less notes I give.
And what'd you study in school?
Literature.
And did you always know this was what you wanted to do?
Okay, my palms are starting to sweat. I feel like I'm on a job interview. Do you by any chance know how to be on a date?
You insult my queen. You threaten my people with slavery and death.
This is blasphemy. This is madness.
Madness. This is Sparta!